right, guys, I am so excited today to be here with one of my favorite people who is absolutely amazing. Mari Harris is an avid marathoner, a blogger, a mother of 4. I mean, it's incredible the things she's done. She's run 18 half marathons, 18 full marathons. She's done it all with 4 kids in tow. So I totally admire what she's doing. I feel totally honored that you are here today to share some of your secrets with us.
Well, thanks for having me.
Her hair is real. Mine's not.
It is real.
I could pull on yours and it would stay. Mine would fall out. Just kidding, kind of. Clip it. Anyway. So New Year's resolutions have kind of come and gone, and it's that time of year where we're all kind of feeling like we need something else to work toward. And I know for me personally, one of the things I want to work toward in my life is running another half marathon. I've only run 2 in my life. I've never done a full. I don't know if I ever want to do a full. And I've actually gotten quite a few of you guys out here who have told me that you want to do the same, but you're not quite sure where to start. So Mari, I mean, help us out. Like, for everyone watching right now, where can they start? If they're sitting on the couch, on their computer, watching us, is it possible? Can they get up and run a half?
I firmly believe 100% that everyone is capable of running a half marathon. I know it to be true, and I've seen it happen, is the beautiful part. So what I always tell people who want to start out, who don't know where to begin, is to always start with a time goal. Don't start with a mileage goal. Don't say, I'm gonna run a mile today, because sometimes that can be overwhelming, and that's not what you want when you set a goal. You want something that you can achieve.
10 minutes,
so
what do you say?
I usually say 20 minutes, and my rule is to run when you can and walk when you must. So if you need to take a walk break, that's fine. Always make it a goal to end your run on a run, not walking.
So like if you're like not yet to your house, but you're like say a street away, you want to, even if you're walking, you want to sprint to your garage.
Try your best. Try to run home from wherever you are. End your workout on a run. And another thing I always tell them is to be consistent, because the more you do something, the more your body will adapt, and the easier it will get. So you'll find that during that 20 minutes, if you're consistent, your running time is going to increase and your walking time is going to decrease. And before you know it, you're running for 20 minutes straight.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you first started, like, I don't know if you can remember back to the,
yes.
I mean, 18 half marathons, 18 marathons.
I do
That had to be a
remember.
long time ago. But were you a runner before you actually started running these events, or did you just one day say, hey, I'm going to start with 20 minutes? And was that 20 minutes hard for you? Because I know even for me, I don't do distance right now. I run when I'm in my gym, and I do it as part of my circuits. But running 20 minutes would actually be difficult for me right now because I'm not trained for that.
Well, absolutely. I remember starting out like it was yesterday, and I always tell people, the amazing thing about the human body is that it adapts to whatever it's doing. So the more you're consistent and the longer you do this, it will become easy, and it will become something you can accomplish. I remember starting out and just running, and I probably lasted 90 seconds. I mean, really, literally 90 seconds.
Yeah.
And before I had to walk again. And people say to me all the time, they say, I'm just not a runner. I hear it all the time.
I know.
And I want to tell them, you are a runner.
Whatever you want to be, right?
Whatever you want to be. And no one comes out of the womb ready to run a 10K.
Yeah, it's true.
So you just have to work for it, and you have to be motivated, and soon you will become a runner. No one's born a runner. You will become one.
You know, I remember training for my first half marathon. And I didn't train for as long as I should have, which I'll ask you that in a second. I probably trained for like 8 weeks. And I remember like the first recommendation was a 40-minute run. Actually, I think it was a 4.5 mile run. And I was like, 4.5 miles? I have maybe run a mile consistently in my life, and it was back in PE in like 11th grade. You know what I'm saying? Like that was it. So I remember running that 4.5 mile loop like it was yesterday, and it was the most painful thing I had ever done in my life. But I will say, consistency, which is something you just talked on, by doing it every single day, I would say by like week 4, I would actually crave my runs and look forward to them. And I was building up to 7 miles on my Saturday run, which, I mean, talk about fulfilling. Coming from someone who did say, I'm never going to be I'm not a runner. Like, I can lift weights, I'm not a runner. Yeah. It is possible. The human body is incredible. Yeah. Would you say it's more mental than physical?
I think it's half and half, because you definitely need to be physically prepared. Yeah. And but you definitely need to know that you are capable of so much more than you think. I always tell people, if you think you can't take another step, you probably won't be able to. But everyone can always take one more step, and the beauty of those steps is they add up. And even when a marathon or a half marathon gets hard, and you're at mile 10, and you think, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die.
Like the breaking point for me.
Yeah, the breaking point for a lot of people. It's so common, but you can always take one more step. One step turns into another, which turns into the finish line coming. Yeah. And then people are so proud, and they've accomplished something, and it's amazing.
It's awesome. How old were you when you ran your first half marathon?
I actually am not the norm. I ran a full marathon before I ran a half marathon. Yes, that's not the norm.
That is crazy.
Yes.
And we should say we don't recommend that for people.
Yeah, yeah, it's a little crazy. I did train for a really long time. When I first decided I wanted to run a marathon, the marathon was a year away. So I ran consistently for a long time, and I could have run a half marathon in that time, but I just
And you
didn't.
did in your training?
Totally, yes,
Yeah.
I did in my training. So, but for a half marathon, for someone who wants to run their first half marathon, it's just it becomes a mind game too, because its distance is so relative. Like, to you, a 5-mile run might be long right now.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's not that long. So the longer you train, the relativity of the distance changes.
Of course, yeah.
And so that's the beauty of it, is so that when you start your training, it seems intimidating, but really, as you go along, it's definitely something you can do, and it's something that's maintainable and attainable, and you will accomplish your goal.
Awesome. Well, so if today somebody sitting here watching this says, I want to run a half marathon, how many weeks should we give them? How many weeks should they plan to train before they run it? What's your recommendation?
Well, that depends, because if there's someone who kind of works out, is physically fit, they do cycling or swimming, then it could be a little less. It could be as little as 10 weeks. If it's someone who does not work out at all, then I recommend a little bit more, probably about 16 to 20 weeks.
Okay, I agree with that. I know on our show we have so many people that are going from 400 pounds to 6 months into their journey. They're actually running full marathons. Yeah. And while that's not completely normal or average, it's doable. And when you see these people doing these things, I have to admit, like, that's, to me, when I see Sarah lose all of this weight in 6 months and then at her size run a full marathon, that's inspiring to me. And I think if she can do it, I can do it. I mean, it doesn't take someone that's physically fit and in the best shape of their life to run that marathon. All it takes is, I think, a good mindset and some grit. Training. Absolutely.
Training.
Yeah. And I know a half marathon can be totally daunting for some of you guys watching, and if it is, it's okay. Chris and I always say it's all about baby steps. So maybe the first step for you is a 10K or a 5K or even like a 2-mile fun run. I don't know, just find something and start there. And once you accomplish that one thing, don't you feel like it's so much easier, Mari, to go to the next and then build up to a 5K, then a 10K and a half.
Absolutely.
And just feel good about yourself. So
yeah, it's good to realize that you're capable of something that you once thought you could never do. And it's amazing. It's a good feeling.
Totally. Well, if you have like your top 3 bits of training advice for everyone watching, what would they be?
Number 1, be consistent. Be consistent for sure. And don't be too hard on yourself. If some days you're not feeling it, or your knees hurt, or you got a stomach ache, just take it day by day and don't be too hard on yourself. Let's see, another piece
How
of
about
advice.
not compare yourself to your training partner?
Oh yeah, I'm a huge advocate of this, huge advocate. If you read my blog, you know. The only person you should ever compare yourself to is who you were yesterday. So, So don't worry about other people and how fast they're going or what they're doing or if they're doing more. Just worry about you and worry about being better than you were yesterday.
Awesome. Tip number 2.
Okay, tip number 2 is you have to fuel your runs. This is a lot of information that people don't know. It's not readily available, but if you're running for over an hour, you need to fuel yourself. You will.
That's my problem.
Yes.
Because you forget about it and you're focused on your time, so you think I can just skip this
Yeah.
recharge station,
Yeah.
this refuel station, and keep going.
You don't want to do that. If your stores in your body run out and your blood sugar drops, you're toast.
You can't recover.
You can't recover, and your legs will literally stop moving. Yeah. So what you want to do is just know how to fuel and, take in sports drinks, take in simple sugars that can get into your stream fast and that can fuel your run. A lot of people don't know that, and they come to me and they say, I went on the 7-mile run. I felt terrible. I had to walk the last 2 miles, and I always ask, yeah,
I've been there before.
what did you take in? And they
Yep.
say nothing, and I say, well, there you go.
Yeah.
So it's so simple.
Yep.
Yeah.
Food is fuel for our bodies, and so often we
Absolutely.
forget that.
Yeah.
Okay, tip number 3. Last tip.
Tip number
Make this
3.
your best one.
Just know that running will teach you so much more about yourself than how, putting one foot in front of the other. It will take you places literally and figuratively. It will just teach you about yourself, and it will give you some peaceful time to yourself, and it really just is such a rewarding experience.
It's so true. I remember putting earbuds in and just like setting my playlist, and for a good hour and a half, however long my training session was, just zoning out, and I would forget about the run before I knew it, and I was just thinking about my life and sorting through things, and I would go home and have all these ideas I'd want to write down on paper. It really is one of the best times to just focus on yourself and your life in general.
Yeah.
Well, Mari, thank you so much for being here with
Thanks
us.
for having
And you guys, thank you for listening. And if you haven't visited Mari's site yet, please go to myheartracesblog.com. She has tons of valuable information. She clearly, knows what she's doing. Do you give hair tips on your blog? You
Actually, yes.
You do?
Yes.
How come I didn't know that? I'm so excited. Well, if you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so now, and I'll see you next time. Bye.